Well, I want to thank the panel. I want to thank the Ag Committee members, the Financial Service Committee members for a vibrant discussion today. I think one thing that was talked about is the efforts of other countries. And Mr. Schoenberger, what does it mean for the U.S. and Americans that the UK and the European Union are ahead of us on regulatory structure for crypto? What does that mean?
Thanks, Congressman. I would add Switzerland to this because this is simply where the Web3 Foundation is at home. And I said this before here. It was a very deliberate decision of the foundation to be headquartered there because of the legal certainty.
Well, what does it mean for the United States and Americans that we're behind in a regulatory structure here?
I can only speculate what others would do, but if the foundation perceives it that way, that it might be better to be somewhere else, others might think that too.
So the innovation happens somewhere else, the value accrual and the jobs accrue somewhere else. So Mr. Culkin and Mr. Santori, based on the discussions today, what are the most important next steps that Congress can take? And is there urgency?
So, Chair McHenry, I think in terms of incremental next steps, clarity from Congress that CFTC has oversight over digital commodity spot markets would bring a number of protections to those markets and participants, things like segregation of customer funds, clarity on treatment of customer property in the event of a bankruptcy, surveillance of the market activity. Those, in my mind, are the next logical steps here.
Okay, consumer protection, fostering innovation, the tandem.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree with those themes. I'd say specifically a functional standard and a process for drawing clear lines between the SEC and the CFTC, a workable registration path for exchanges like Kraken, clarification that the CFTC does have oversight over spot markets, and of course putting in place workable transition arrangements for exchanges like ours and other participants. Is there urgency
in your view?
I view this as urgent.
Why?
We cannot plan. We cannot plan how to put in place the tools, processes, and procedures that we use to protect consumers, to make reporting to law enforcement, and we cannot plan to hire new personnel, to expand our physical presence, to develop software tools. Planning is key for us. We've been around for 11 years. We plan to be around for a lot longer than 11 more.
So on that lack of planning, what does that actually mean, though? Because you're talking about your problems. Tell me about the American people's problems if this is the case. What are we missing out on?
Yeah,
Consumer protection is what we're missing out on. Number one, there's not clarity of this stuff. There's not clear rules of the road on whose rights there are for these assets. There's a lack of clarity.
That's right.
The lack of clarity doesn't mean better things for the consumer. Is that fair?
That's right. It means a worse environment for consumers. We cannot build the tools that we need to protect them. We cannot invest to build.
So if my colleagues think that there is nothing to the digital assets, there is nothing to be valued from there, that there is nothing from an open, permissionless exchange that is visible to all, that law enforcement can track, there's no value to that. You would still want to have consumer protections. You would still want to have rule of law here to make sure there's enforceability of rights and protections of consumers' property, right?
Yes,
even if you hated it.
Would.
And if you love it, then you're missing out on the innovation, the job creation, the technical transmission of new value. All right. So what are the takeaways today? I think to recap on today, a couple things are clear. The current Securities Exchange Commission approach to disclosures don't work for digital assets. It doesn't conform with the nature and properties of digital assets. The CFTC needs additional authority over non-security digital assets. The Securities Exchange Commission needs to modify its rules for broker-dealers and securities exchanges. Those things have to happen because the CFTC and the SEC alone can't do this. Congress must act. And it's imperative that we do act. And this committee will act. I want to thank Chairman Hill for his leadership and the bipartisan cooperation we've had from many on these subcommittees and these committees of jurisdiction. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.